Life is screaming your name, not whispering, not suggesting, screaming. Every heartbeat, every breath, every moment is calling you to something greater. But will you answer? That's the question that haunts the halls of destiny. There's a truth so profound, so transformative, that only 1% of people will ever grasp its full magnitude. Not because they're special, not because they're chosen, but because they're willing to be awakened. Do you know what keeps me up at night? It's not the darkness of the world. It's not the challenges we face. It's the light inside people that never gets turned on. It's the greatness that dies unborn. It's the dreams that never get a chance to breathe. You see, most people live their entire lives on borrowed beliefs. They're living someone else's version of who they should be. They're chasing someone else's definition of success. They're pursuing someone else's dreams. And then they wonder why they feel empty inside. They wonder why success feels hollow. They wonder why achievement leaves them hungry for more. Let me tell you something that might shake the foundations of everything you believe. You are not who you think you are. You are not your past. You are not your failures. You are not your successes. You are not your bank account. You are not your job title. You are not what people say about you. You are a force of nature wrapped in human form. You are potential incarnate. You are possibility breathing. You are the universe expressing itself through your unique configuration of gifts, talents, and abilities. But here's the tragedy. Most people will leave this room today and continue living as if they're ordinary. They'll go back to their lives, their routines, their comfortable limitations. They'll continue to play small, dream small, live small, not because they have to, but because they choose to. The 1% understand something that changes everything in your life is not a problem to be solved. It's a gift to be expressed. They understand that you don't need more resources, you need more resourcefulness. You don't need more opportunities, you need more awareness of the opportunities that already surround you. Think about an acorn for a moment. Inside that tiny seed lies the blueprint of an entire oak forest. It doesn't contain just one tree, it contains generations of trees. It contains endless possibilities. It contains infinite potential. And here's what's profound: that acorn doesn't struggle to become an oak tree. It doesn't wake up every morning questioning its identity. It doesn't doubt its potential. It simply responds to its nature. You are that acorn. But society has convinced you that you need to become something, that you need to prove yourself, that you need to earn your right to be great. The 1% understand that this is the greatest lie ever sold to humanity. Let me ask you something that might make you uncomfortable. What if your sense of limitation is the only thing limiting you? What if your beliefs about what's possible are the only thing standing between you and your destiny? What if your comfort zone is actually a prison cell in disguise? You see, the difference between the 1% and everyone else isn't talent, it's awareness. It isn't resources, it's resourcefulness. It isn't opportunity, it's their response to opportunity. The 1% understand that they're not here to compete with others, they're here to compete with their potential. But this understanding comes with a price tag. It demands that you stop making excuses. It requires that you stop blaming circumstances. It necessitates that you take full responsibility for your life, not just your actions, but your responses, your attitudes, your energy, your everything. The 1% understand that every excuse they accept is a brick in the wall between them and their greatness. Every justification for mediocrity is a chain that binds them to average. Every reason why they can't is a lie that keeps them from what they could be. Look around this room. The statistics suggest that only a handful of people here will fully grasp what I'm sharing. Not because they're more intelligent, more talented, or more blessed, or because they're more willing to be uncomfortable. They're more willing to question everything they've believed about themselves. They're more willing to die to their old understanding so they can be reborn into a new level of consciousness. This message isn't about motivation, motivation fades. This isn't about inspiration, inspiration expires. This is about transformation, the kind that rewrites your DNA. This is about awakening to the truth of who you are and what you're capable of becoming. The world doesn't need another person living in fear. It doesn't need another individual playing small. It doesn't need another soul dimming their light to make others comfortable. The world needs you, the real you, the authentic you, the unleashed you, the unbound you. Your presence in this room right now is not an accident. Your breath in this moment is not random. You are here because something inside you is ready to wake up. Something within you is ready to break free. Something in your spirit is ready to soar. But understanding who you are is only the beginning. The real question is, what are you doing with what you understand? Knowledge without application is merely information, and information without transformation is just entertainment. You see, right now in this very moment, someone in this room is sitting on an idea that could transform their industry. Someone here has a solution that could solve a problem affecting millions. Someone here has a gift that could inspire generations. But they're waiting. Waiting for the right time. Waiting until they're ready. Waiting until they have enough money, enough connections, enough confidence. Let me tell you something that might disturb you. The graveyard is the richest place on earth. Because buried beneath the soil lie countless unwritten books, unsung songs, unlaunched businesses, uncreated inventions, and unexpressed love. Dreams that never became reality. Visions that never saw the light of day. Not because these people weren't capable, but because they didn't understand the urgency of now. The 1% understand something crucial. Time is not a resource to be managed, it's a currency to be invested. Every minute you spend waiting is a minute you'll never get back. Every day you postpone your dreams is a day of your potential lying dormant. But here's what's even more heartbreaking. Most people are more afraid of success than they are of failure. They're more comfortable with the pain they know than the growth they don't. They've become so familiar with their limitations that their limitations have become their identity. You want to know what separates the 1% from everyone else? They understand that comfort is the enemy of destiny. They understand that every time you choose comfort over growth, you choose mediocrity over excellence. Every time you choose what's familiar over what's possible, you choose your current reality over your potential. Let me ask you something. What would you attempt to do if you knew you couldn't fail? What dreams would you pursue if fear wasn't a factor? What version of yourself would you become if you stopped asking for permission to be great? The 1% understand that failure isn't the opposite of success, it's a component of success. They understand that every no brings them closer to a yes, that every setback is setting them up for a comeback, that every obstacle is an opportunity in disguise. But here's where most people get stuck. They're waiting for certainty. They want guarantees. They want to see the entire staircase before they take the first step. But life doesn't work that way. Growth doesn't work that way. Transformation doesn't work that way. The 1% understand that clarity comes from engagement, not contemplation. They understand that you don't have to see the whole path to take the first step. They understand that the path reveals itself to those who start walking. Think about a car headlight for a moment. It only illuminates about 200 feet ahead, but you can drive across an entire country with just those 200 feet of visibility. Why? Because as you move forward, the path continues to reveal itself. The same principle applies to your life, your dreams, your purpose. But here's what most people do. They stand still, waiting for more light. They want to see the entire journey before they take the first step. And while they're waiting, life is passing them by. Opportunities are passing them by. Their destiny is passing them by. The 1% understand something profound. Your purpose is not a destination to reach, it's a direction to grow in. They understand that purpose is not something you find, it's something you fulfill. They understand that your calling isn't something you discover, it's something you discover. It's something you recover. Look at nature. A rose doesn't struggle to be a rose. An eagle doesn't attend seminars on how to be an eagle. A mountain doesn't need motivation to be a mountain. They simply express what they already are. The same is true for you. But society has conditioned us to believe that we need to become something. That we need to chase success, pursue happiness, seek fulfillment. The 1% understand that this is backward thinking. They understand that success is not something you pursue, it's something you attract by the person you become. This understanding changes everything. It changes how you approach your work. Instead of working for success, you work from success. Instead of trying to get somewhere, you operate from the understanding that you're already there, you're just expanding your expression of it. The 1% understand that true power doesn't come from controlling circumstances, it comes from controlling your response to circumstances. They understand that leadership isn't about position, it's about disposition. They understand that influence isn't about authority, it's about authenticity. But here's the challenge this level of understanding requires you to die to your old way of thinking. It requires you to question everything you've been taught about success, about achievement, about fulfillment. It requires you to challenge every limitation you've accepted as truth. The question isn't whether you're capable of greatness. You are. The question is whether you're willing to let go of who you think you are to become who you're meant to be. The question is whether you're willing to be misunderstood, criticized, and judged in pursuit of your authentic expression. The 1% understand that criticism is the tax you pay for being distinctive. They understand that not everyone will understand your vision, and that's okay. They understand that your purpose isn't to convince everyone, it's to be convinced yourself. And this brings us to something even deeper, something that the 1% understand at their core, the power of environment. Your environment is not neutral. It's either working for you or against you. It's either lifting you up or pulling you down. It's either feeding your dreams or feeding your doubts. Take a moment right now and look at your phone. Who are the last 5 people you called? Look at your messages. Who are the last 5 people you texted? These people are shaping your life more than you realize. Their thoughts are becoming your thoughts. Their standards are becoming your standards. Their limitations are becoming your limitations. The 1% understand that environment is stronger than willpower. You can have all the determination in the world, but if you're planted in toxic soil, you'll struggle to grow. You can have the greatest potential, but if you're surrounded by small thinking, your thinking will shrink to fit your environment. This is why mediocrity is so contagious. This is why average is so infectious. Because most people are surrounded by average thinking, average conversation, average expectations. And then they wonder why they can't break through to the next level. But here's what's even more profound. Your environment isn't just external, it's internal. The thoughts you entertain, the conversations you have with yourself, the beliefs you nurture, this is your internal environment. And it's even more powerful than your external environment. The 1% understand that the most important conversations are the ones you have with yourself. They understand that your self-talk creates your reality. They understand that your internal dialogue is either building you up or tearing you down. Let me ask you something. What's the story you keep telling yourself? What's the narrative that plays in your mind when you face challenges? When you look in the mirror? When you think about your dreams? Most people have a story that disempowers them. A story about why they can't. A story about their limitations. A story about their past. A story about their circumstances. But the 1% understand that your story is not your destiny unless you keep telling it. You see, right now, someone in this room is sitting on their breakthrough. Someone here is one decision away from their destiny. Someone here is one mindset shift away from their miracle. But they're held captive by their story. The 1% understand something revolutionary. You don't have to accept the story you've been given. You have the power to edit your narrative. You have the authority to rewrite your script. You have the ability to create a new story. But creating a new story requires courage. It requires you to question everything you've accepted as truth. It requires you to challenge every limitation you've embraced as reality. It requires you to examine every belief that's been handed down to you. Think about water for a moment. Water takes the shape of whatever container it's poured into. If you pour water into a cup, it becomes the cup. If you pour water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. If you pour water into a river, it becomes the river. Most people are like water. They take the shape of their environment. They conform to the expectations around them. They adapt to the limitations imposed upon them. But the 1% understand that they're not meant to fit into a container. They're meant to create their own container. This understanding changes everything. It changes how you approach challenges. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? You ask, what is this teaching me? Instead of saying, I can't afford it, you ask, how can I afford it? Instead of accepting limitations, you start questioning them. The 1% understand that questions are the answers. They understand that the quality of your life is determined by the quality of questions you ask yourself. They understand that when you change the questions you ask, you change the answers you receive. But here's what most people do. They ask disempowering questions. Why me? What if I fail? What will people think? These questions create emotional states that paralyze them. They create mental environments that suffocate their potential. The 1% ask different questions. What if I succeed? How can I serve at a higher level? What would I do? If I knew I couldn't fail, these questions create emotional states that empower them. They create mental environments that nurture their growth. But understanding this isn't enough. You must apply it. You must live it. You must breathe it. Because understanding without application is merely intellectual entertainment. Look at your hands again. These hands that have touched life, felt pain, given love, built dreams. These hands contain the power to reshape your reality. These hands can write a new story. These hands can build a new future. These hands can create a new legacy. But here's the challenge. Most people want microwave results in a crock pot world. They want overnight success in a process that requires seasoning. They want instant transformation in a journey that demands patience. The 1% understand that true transformation is not an event, it's a process. They understand that success is not a destination, it's a journey. They understand that greatness is not a gift, it's a decision. Let's talk about something real. Something that matters, something that changes lives. The 1% know a truth that most people miss. Your mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant, there will grow. Whatever you feed will get stronger. Whatever you ignore will die. Think about that for a minute. Every thought you have is like dropping a seed into the soil of your mind. Every word you speak is like water on those seeds. Every action you take is like sunlight helping those seeds grow. But here's what most people do. They plant weeds and expect roses to grow. They fill their minds with doubt and expect confidence to bloom. They feed their fears and wonder why their dreams don't grow. It doesn't work that way. The 1% understand this simple truth: what you focus on grows. If you focus on problems, you'll see more problems. If you focus on possibilities, you'll see more possibilities. If you focus on what you lack, you'll see more lack. If you focus on what you have, you'll see more abundance. Let me tell you a story. There was once a young athlete who wanted to be the best in his sport. Everyone told him he was too small, too slow, too weak. But he understood something that changed everything. His limits weren't real. They were just thoughts in his mind. So every day when others saw limits, he saw challenges. When others saw walls, he saw stepping stones. When others saw reasons to quit, he saw reasons to keep going. You know what happened? He didn't just become good, he became great. Not because he was born with more talent, but because he refused to accept the limits others tried to put on him. He understood what the 1% understand: your beliefs create your reality. But let's get practical. Let's talk about real life. Let's talk about Monday morning when you have to go to work. Let's talk about the bills that need to be paid. Let's talk about the dreams that seem too big and the goals that seem too far. The 1% understand something about these everyday challenges. They're not your enemy. They're your training ground. They're not stopping you. They're strengthening you. They're not blocking your path. They're building your character. Think about working out at the gym. When you lift weights, your muscles don't get stronger during the lift. They get stronger during the rest between lifts. The lifting creates tiny tears in the muscle. And during rest, those tears heal stronger than before. Life works the same way. Every challenge you face, every obstacle you overcome, every setback you experience, they're all making you stronger. But only if you see them that way. Only if you understand their purpose. The 1% don't just face challenges, they welcome them. They don't just deal with problems, they use them. They understand that strength comes from struggle, that growth comes from resistance, that success comes from overcoming. But here's where most people get stuck. They wait for everything to be perfect before they start. They wait for all the lights to be green before they leave the house. They wait for all their fears to disappear before they take action. Life doesn't work that way. The 1% understand that action comes first, clarity comes second. They understand that you don't have to feel ready to start. They understand that courage isn't the absence of fear, it's action in the presence of fear. Let me ask you something. What would happen if you took action today, right now, even though you're scared? What would change if you started moving toward your dreams, even though you don't feel ready? What would shift if you decided to believe in yourself, even though others doubt you? The 1% understand that these questions aren't just nice ideas, they're the keys to changing your life. They understand that your actions shape your beliefs more than your beliefs shape your actions. They understand that motion creates emotion. Think about a car. A parked car is hard to steer, but once it's moving, even a small child can turn the wheel. Life works the same way. When you're stuck, when you're not moving, everything seems hard. But once you start moving, once you take action, things become easier. But let's be real, taking action is scary. Chasing dreams is scary. Believing in yourself when no one else does is scary. The 1% understand this. They're not fearless. They just don't let fear stop them. You see, fear is like a compass. It points directly at what you need to do next. When you feel fear, when you feel that knot in your stomach, when you feel that voice telling you to stay safe, that's often a sign pointing toward your growth. The 1% use this understanding to guide them. They don't run from fear, they run toward it. They don't hide from challenges, they seek them out. They don't avoid discomfort, they embrace it. Because they understand that everything they want lies on the other side of fear. But here's something nobody talks about: the path to success isn't a straight line. It's messy. It's full of detours. It's full of failures. It's full of mistakes. The 1% understand this. They don't expect perfection, they expect progress. Think about learning to walk. How many times did you fall? How many times did you get hurt? How many times did you want to quit? But you kept going, you kept going, you kept getting back up. Why? Because falling is part of learning to walk. The same is true for success. Failure isn't the opposite of success, it's part of success. Mistakes aren't your enemy, they're your teachers. Setbacks aren't stopping you, they're redirecting you. The 1% understand that success leaves clues. Every failure has a lesson. Every setback has a gift. Every mistake has a message. But you have to be willing to look for them. You have to be willing to learn from them. You have to be willing to grow through them. Let me tell you something else. The 1% understand your goals aren't just about you. Your dreams aren't just about you. Your success isn't just about you. It's about everyone you'll inspire along the way. It's about everyone you'll help along the way. It's about the legacy you'll leave behind. Think about that for a minute. Every time you play small, you're not just cheating yourself, you're cheating everyone who could have been inspired by your example. Every time you give up on your dreams, you're not just giving up on yourself, you're giving up on everyone who could have been touched by your success. The 1% understand that success is a responsibility. It's not just about getting more, it's about becoming more. It's not just about achieving goals, it's about serving others. It's not just about reaching the top, it's about lifting others as you climb. But here's the thing about responsibility: it's heavy. It's demanding. It asks more of you than you think you can give. The 1% understand this. They don't run from responsibility, they rise to it. They don't shrink from challenges, they grow through them. Your life right now is a reflection of your past thoughts, past decisions, past actions. But your future is a blank canvas. It's waiting for you to pick up the brush. It's waiting for you to choose the colors. It's waiting for you to start painting. The 1% understand that every day is a new chance to rewrite your story. Every morning is a new opportunity to reshape your reality. Every moment is a new beginning to recreate your life. Let's talk about this moment. Not tomorrow, not next week, not someday. This exact moment. Because everything changes right here, right now. The 1% understand a simple truth: you can't save time. You can't store it. You can't keep it for later. You can only spend it. And every moment you spend waiting is a moment lost forever. Look at your life right now. Really look at it. Is this all you're capable of? Is this the limit of your potential? Is this the fullness of your purpose? Deep down, you already know the answer. Deep down, you feel that pull towards something greater. The 1% understand that change happens in moments. Not in years. Not in months. Not in weeks. In moments. In decisions. In choices. Every choice you make is either moving you toward your dreams or away from them. Think about water boiling. At 211 degrees, water is hot. At 212 degrees, it boils. And boiling water creates steam that can power a train. 1 degree makes all the difference. Your life works the same way. Small changes, tiny decisions, little choices, they all add up. But let's get real. What's really holding you back isn't lack of knowledge or opportunity. It's what you tell yourself, the stories you believe, the limits you accept, the excuses you make. The 1% understand that your biggest enemy isn't out there, it's in here. Here's what they do differently. They don't fight their thoughts, they change them. They don't battle their fears, they use them. They don't hide from their doubts, they face them. Because what you resist persists, but what you embrace transforms. The 1% understand that clarity comes from action, not thinking. Confidence comes from doing, not planning. Courage comes from starting, not waiting. They know that no one is coming to save them. No one is coming to make it easy. No one is coming to do it for them. Think about a butterfly emerging from its cocoon. If you help it by breaking open the cocoon, it dies. The struggle to emerge is what makes its wings strong enough to fly. Your struggles are doing the same thing. Your challenges aren't stopping you, they're strengthening you. Let me tell you something that might change everything. Your current situation is not your final destination. Your present circumstances are not your future reality. Your past experiences are not your future expectations, unless you choose them to be. The 1% understand that choice is their superpower. They choose their thoughts, they choose their beliefs, they choose their actions, they choose their responses. They understand that life doesn't happen to you, it happens through you. You're not here by accident. You're not breathing by chance. You're not alive for no reason. You're here because you have something to give, something to share, something to contribute. The world doesn't need another person living in fear. It doesn't need another individual playing small. It doesn't need another soul hiding their light. The world needs you, the real you, the authentic you, the unleashed you. Everything you need is already inside you. Everything you're looking for is already within you. Everything you want to become is already part of who you are. The 1% understand this. They don't chase success, they express it. They don't pursue greatness, they release it. This is your moment. This is your time. This is your chance to join the 1%. Not because you're special, but because you're willing. Not because you're gifted, but because you're ready. Not because you're perfect, but because you're committed. Look at your hands one last time. These hands that hold your destiny. These hands that can shape your future. These hands that can build your dreams. Within them lies the power to rewrite history, to reshape reality, to redefine what's possible. Right now in this room, a fire is burning, not in the walls, not in the ceiling, but in your soul. That fire isn't just heat, it's your purpose coming alive. That warmth isn't just emotion, it's your potential awakening. That light isn't just brightness, it's your future calling. Stand up, step up, rise up. Because the 1% aren't coming, they're already here. They're not out there somewhere, they're right here. They're not someone else, they're you. Awaken to your true power, alive to your real purpose, aligned with your deepest calling.